Hi class, this is William, and in this video I want to talk to you about the single most important element of persuasion, ethos. You'll remember that ethos refers to a speaker's credibility, so it's how much the audience is going to believe you. In this video I'm going to be focusing on the two different phases of ethos, initial ethos and derived ethos. With initial ethos, this is the credibility you gain or lose before you begin speaking. It's influenced by a variety of determining factors, some of them fair, some of them perhaps less fair. For example, initial ethos can be influenced by your appearance. Now, by appearance, it could include physical characteristics, but it also includes things like dressing appropriately. Now, sometimes people think, does that mean you have to show up in every business or every speech in a business suit? No, of course not. In fact, in some settings, that would be very counterproductive. Instead, you should dress appropriate to the setting. Another determining factor of initial ethos is the confidence that you have as you approach the speaking lectern. Sometimes people, when they're called to give a speech, they kind of slowly, gradually get up and mumble to themselves, and sometimes they're talking as they're walking up to the front, and they get up there and you can just tell they just want to get this over with. Sometimes it doesn't appear that they're quite confident in what they're talking about. This can really damage their initial ethos. Others, when they're called to give a speech, they stand up, they walk to the front of the room with a sense of purpose and confidence, and they seem quite sure about what they're talking about. The last determining factor of initial ethos that I want to mention in this video is reputation. Now, reputation can be your reputation as an individual or reputation by association. In terms of your reputation as an individual, obviously, if we have the reputation of being honest, people are more likely to believe us. If we have the reputation of being dishonest, people are less likely to believe us. But what is sometimes not understood is that we are also judged by our reputation by association. This association could certainly include what our profession is. While a lot of people who serve in politics are quite honest and trustworthy, because they're politicians, we oftentimes immediately consider them to be less believable. We are also judged in terms of reputation by association by the company we keep. If you associate with individuals that the audience considers to be honest and trustworthy, the audience will actually come to believe you are also honest and trustworthy. If, however, you are seen associating with people that the audience judges to be untrustworthy, the audience is less likely to trust you as well. Now, we actually all go through this experience. If you're introduced by a friend to somebody and the friend vouches for them, you're actually more inclined to trust them as well. There is a belief deeply seated within us that an honest person will generally not choose to associate with a dishonest person or an untrustworthy person. Again, fair or unfair. Derived ethos, this is the credibility you gain or lose after you begin speaking. And it's influenced by a variety of things, such as your delivery. In terms of speech delivery, a lot of elements of delivery can certainly influence ethos, but in particular, energy, eye contact, and gestures can be very effective in communicating honesty and trustworthy. The audience's perception of your expertise will obviously play a role here. Now, a common way that people establish their expertise is to simply tell the audience how they're an expert. For example, some years ago, I had a student who was graduating in the ROTC program, and prior to coming to Western Oregon, he had served for 13 years in the U.S. military, including several years as a U.S. Army Ranger, and had done a number of combat tours. So his speech was about how the U.S. Army breaches a position. Now, I don't know how many people in the audience were particularly interested in learning about that. Whether they were or not, though, everybody in the room certainly would have accepted that he knew what he was talking about. Another one that affects your derived ethos is the audience's perception of your goodwill toward them. We're obviously more likely to trust somebody if we believe that they would not lie to us. And I have a very simple 3-step process for establishing this goodwill. This 3-step strategy is a common one used by orators. In step 1, you identify a group that you share with the audience. Here you're establishing common ground. We are more likely to trust somebody if we believe that they are with us than if they are somebody from another group. Second, instill pride in that group. Here, we're taking advantage of the fact that we most trust people who share a group that we are very proud of. And then third, the use of something called transformative language. People think in language, so the language that is used to describe something often helps shape how they perceive that. So for example, if the words that describe our relationship is a lot of I, me, you, separateness, then each of us will perceive our relationship as being one of separate. If, however, the speaker uses a lot of we, us, and our, then the speaker is helping establish that our relationship is one of togetherness. A common example of this, a popular example, is from Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. In the speech, he begins with, I am happy to join with you today. Here he's establishing that common ground, that common group, participation in this demonstration. He then says, in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. So here he's instilling great pride in what they were doing. Then throughout the speech, he continued to help build this sense of common ground, that we are together. I hope this video helped you understand Ethos a little bit better. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.